think you were on that one, weren't you, Edge?
I was.
Yeah. Then the one before that, the other one, Ravens and Chiefs. I think
that was Thursday night. I watched that one Friday morning.
Yeah.
But I lasted the Eagles Packers one because it was a weekend. Well, why not?
Yeah.
Strange game, wasn't it? With all the flags. This seems to be typical, isn't it? First game of season, there's a flag every other play. Just spoils any rhythm to any games.
New rules, and they'll go, oh shit, this new rule's awful.
Yeah.
We'll get rid of it, and it won't happen week 2. I think someone said there were 28 illegal formation penalties.
Yeah.
Across the whole weekend?
Yeah, so you're getting on for 2 a game, aren't you?
Well, the Ravens must have had about 8 of them in the first quarter.
Yeah, it's ludicrous. Ludicrous.
Silly.
But it's like the football that they do that at the start of every season. Like when there's new like offside rules or speaking back to the referee, they stamp it down and then it's forgotten for the other team.
Yeah, it's only done for a week or so until everyone forgets.
Yeah,
all the players can go back to being
knobheads,
little cunts.
Yeah.
Review of last week's games.
Well, anyway, so, as that's we're actually kind of talking about the NFL now.
Yeah,
we can actually go on to what happened over the last 4 days, 5 days.
Yeah.
It's week 1 has finished, and I think it's been pretty fucking good on the whole.
Correct.
Some fantastic games in there. Started Thursday night with the replay of the AFC Championship, Ravens at Chiefs. It came down to one thing, didn't it? Lamar missing a very open receiver.
Yeah, and he still believes that the final throw was in bounds and should have been, even
though video evidence
it showed his toe was out. Yeah.
That wasn't the one they lost it on. They lost it on the previous one where he missed the wide open receiver. That's where they lost it. Then you wouldn't be arguing over someone's toenail.
No, you don't need to. You're right. What do you make of the game, chaps?
I thought it was really good. I mean, I tipped the Ravens to win it. I think you did as well. So we were both wrong, but it was. They should have at least tied the game at the end there, and they were going to go for 2, and probably could have. You wheel on Derrick Henry there, don't you? And I think I see them getting a 2-point conversion there with Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So you could say if Lamar hits that wide open receiver, or doesn't overthrow the time before, or throws a little bit shorter for the final one, any of those 3, they win that game. So fine margins and that kind of stuff.
It was a really close game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think we all expected.
Yeah.
I think as much as Lamar was good, he was also poor as well. There's no middle ground, I don't think, with Lamar. He's either really good or he's
there was a lot of talk
average.
over, with the addition of Henry changing the way that Lamar plays. And if anything, it was kind of back to the old. But he rushed for about 125 yards or something daft like that.
Didn't see him in second yard.
And Henry in the first quarter got quite a bit. After that, anonymous.
I thought the whole point was it's to lighten the load on Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, if anything, they increased it.
If Derrick Henry's not there to do that, what's he there for?
Is it right? Yeah, it's a good question.
But it was a really good game, and it just shows that those are still going to be 2 of the stronger teams in the AFC. But we were talking the other day about elite quarterbacks and what makes an elite quarterback. And those 3 throws Jackson had at the end, Mahomes doesn't miss all 3 of those.
No, he doesn't.
But I'd say a even better game than Ravens at Chiefs was in Brazil.
Yeah,
Packers at the Eagles. I thought this game was fantastic.
Saquon Barkley, what a signing that is.
Yeah, and it was always, and the fact that they've got him lining up outside as an extra receiver as well. They're trying to McCaffrey him, aren't they? And he had a couple of good receptions, but I can see him actually being able to do that. Out of all the other running backs around, I think he's the one who's most suited to being able to pull that off. if you pardon the expression.
Well, he got 3 touchdowns to me in the end.
Yeah, but one was receiving, wasn't it?
One was so about 20-yard reception or something like that. But just look at the side that they've got, and then they bring him in. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I thought
even with that though, it was a close run thing.
I thought it was a decent game, spoilt by the officiating with far too many flags.
And the problems with the pitch as well. Although
yes,
did that add to the excitement a bit? Going arse over tip quite a lot. I think it kind of did.
Possibly, yeah, you might be right. Possibly right there. Yeah, I'm trying to find penalties there. All in all, there were 17 penalties in that game, and those obviously 17 penalties that have been accepted. There'd be plenty in there that weren't accepted, but yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, I thought it was a fantastic game. Despite that, normally that want to be ruined by the refs, but that was still a absolutely thrilling game.
No, two good teams. Two good teams.
It took. I was a bit concerned with Jordan Love in that first half. Took him a while to get warmed up, but after the break, he was on fire. Yeah, and I was pleased to see that it wasn't a season ender for him.
Yes,
at the end.
Yeah, it said 3 to 6 weeks. And like we said the other night, it'll be certainly the latter.
Okay, so what about future or now like Super Bowl contenders, the Pittsburgh Steelers, go into much fancied Atlanta? And
I've got to pull you up. Did you just say Super Bowl favourites?
No, well, they've got to be in the mix. They've got as good a record as anyone else, and most people fancied the Falcons. I remember, Daz was saying he saw them as like a 12-win team.
I did, yeah.
I did. And go in there and get absolutely destroyed by the Steelers to the extent that we didn't even bother scoring any touchdowns to do it. We'll save them up for another week.
Has a team ever scored like what you got 6 field goals, isn't it? Has a team ever won a game by scoring more than that? Or is that a record? It's unusual, certainly, isn't it?
I was trying to think when he got the 6th one, because I remember someone getting 6 last year, but I was trying to remember if someone ever got 7, because 7 seems like a lot. If you got 21 points, though, you wouldn't look at that and go, that's probably 7 field goals.
No.
Unless you're a Steelers fan, in which case you'll go, we didn't score 3 touchdowns. We must have got 7 field goals. It's far more likely. But, it's good to know that he's still on form.
Would it be fair to say that your defense won you the match?
I'd say it's fair to say every game we've won in the last 2 years, our defense has won.
Yeah, I agree.
But TJ Watt is just fucking immense.
He was unlucky not to have more.
That strip sack and that other sack. Yeah, they're. One of those I'm not buying anyway as a decision. Where they say he got a jump, he didn't get a jump. He was just fast as fuck.
The kicker Boswell, 6 field goals, including one from 51, 56, and 57 yards, to become the first Pittsburgh kicker to make 3 field goals of 50+ yards in a game.
There you go. He's also the first kicker ever to have 6 successful field goals and a punt in the same game.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
He had to take over from our injured punter.
Yeah.
So, we're setting all kind of records this season.
None of them
for touchdowns.
That 6 field goals was also a franchise record for most made in the game.
We could come on to Patriots at Bengals.
Yeah.
This flummoxed us all a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. No one saw that game. No one saw anything resembling a close game there. And even if the Bengals had got the 2 scores they should have got, which they fucked up, it's still a lot closer than anyone gave it.
I think
it credit as being.
For me, it was their whole game plan was just based around attrition, just wear Cincinnati down.
The Patriots way.
Well, at the moment, I guess I think their longest yardage was 17 yards, which isn't going to win many games, but over the course of a full season, you'd have to question how much that's going to win. But they did what they needed to win, went hand in hand with very poor luck for the Bengals as well.
I mean, you're never sure about these things. You don't know if they came into it with the mindset of it's just the Patriots. They were very sloppy, particularly on offense. They were. I don't think you could say anyone in the Bengals offense had a good game.
No, they were completely shut out by halftime, weren't they?
Yeah, but they had so many chances to actually. But they had two golden opportunities. One when they fumbled it as they were crossing the goal line.
Yeah.
I mean that changes from a L to a W there and then, doesn't it? If does it? But
well,
also
that is, isn't it? If you lose a turnover battle, you lose the game.
There was a pick in the red zone as well, or was it a fumble in the red zone? They turned it over twice in the red zone. I'm more of the opinion that the Bengals lost this rather than the Patriots won it. As harsh as that sounds, I still don't think the Patriots have surprised everyone by how good they are. I think they've surprised everyone by winning, but I'm not that impressed by the Patriots still, despite beating the Bengals.
I think that they showed that they're not going to be a pushover.
No, but I don't think they ever were. It's just most people think they haven't got enough on offense. Even when we're doing our predictions, I predicted that they'd win some games just by holding the other team to low points. You might get a defensive touchdown. You do it that way. I didn't expect it to be the Bengals they did it against, but there's always a chance. It's so rare for teams to lose every game. So the fact that they've got a pretty decent defense in place means I can see them. I think I said I thought they'd win 2 this season or 3. Now I'll have to bump that up by 1.
On Washington, then, Daz,
oh god,
the team got battered by the Bucks.
Battered is a very kind word.
Yeah.
Yardage wise. What I don't like is people coming out and saying, "Oh yeah, Daniels played really well. He didn't play badly." But most of those yards are in the fourth quarter when it's just game's well and truly gone. He missed some throws, especially to Terry McLaurin wide open. He threw too long. Can't afford to keep doing that. Over and all, I thought he was tidy enough. He ran it far too many times, or 16 times for 88 yards, 2 touchdowns, but did get it a few times. Apart from that, Eckler looked good when he touched the ball. He looked physical. Like I say, our kicking game at Cage York was awful. Bobby Wagner, 10 tackles. Laughing the old dog yet.
He was the only one who turned up on defense, though, wasn't he?
Well, our back 4.
You had a lot
5.
out, didn't you?
There's what, sorry?
You had a lot of defensive players out.
I'd love to say we did, but no.
I was trying to help you out then.
I know, but I cannot even go there. We had a lot of mistakes, I think, on the cornerbacks. Mike Sandstrel, he come in as a nickel corner. Drafted him high ups, one of the best nickels out there. He looked for help behind, and the safety wasn't there. We've got one called Emmanuel Forbes. We drafted him, I think, first round last season. And listen, we've got to cut him. He's rubbish. You think with Quinn coming in and Waiting and all that lot coming in, you think, yeah, they're going to try and improve his game, but he's actually got worse, and I didn't think it could actually get any worse. And they've got to cut him. But with no cornerbacks, we've got Benjamin St-Juste, who dropped an interception, but it was right into his hands. He just put that on the floor, and they went and scored. I think they went and scored almost every drive they got, apart from 2. I think they scored.
Didn't they score 6 in a row? They scored 6 drives in a row.
6 possessions straight away, bang, bang, bang. Times. We
were talking while we were watching that game, and I said it was. I don't think the Bucks are that good.
No,
but they found it so easy every time they had the ball just to drive up the field. Every single time. Look good. Yeah, they were getting so much space. They could run straight down the middle. They could run to the outside. If they did a short pass, there was a guy in loads of space. A medium pass, guy in loads of space.
Yeah.
Go deep, there was someone out running the corners. It was, help yourself.
That's another thing baffles me. They're always at third and shorts. Always, no matter what, when they had third down, they're either 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, or a push, maybe 3rd and 4th. But we were dropping back 8 yards.
Okay, so I'll tell you another good game. We had lots this week. Cardinals at Bills.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Panthers there.
No, I reckon, like on Match of the Day, the Panthers may well be down the running order on this.
It was a game of two halves, this really, wasn't it? Or probably a quarter and three quarters.
They'll be sick as a parrot losing this.
Yeah.
They played well, I thought, the Cardinals in patches.
Yeah, I think they'll look at this as one that got away.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. Yeah, they could have won it. So should have done maybe.
I mean, we all thought the Bills would win, but
yes,
none of us thought the Bills were going to have a good season. So I think we all thought that it might be a close game. And but once the Cardinals went out in front, and quite rightly, deservedly so, they battered the Bills in that first half.
What was Josh Allen? Were he 2 for 2 or 2 at half time or something like that?
Something like that.
Something just couldn't get anything going in that first half, and we did allude to that in our sort of first episode, where trying to work out what's his game plan now, because he didn't really have a lot of assets to throw at, so it became apparent that okay, if we're going to win this, I've got to do this myself. And a little bit of a trivia for you related to the pod. So Steve Young and Josh Allen are the only players to have scored multiple rushing and passing touchdowns in a game 4 times.
That's true. That Steve mentioned that the other day. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he mentioned that. I bet it was.
Was that when he was coming up with excuses not to come on the pod again?
Well, he was going to go over and congratulate Josh Allen for that first, so he couldn't get over.
I can imagine.
Another talking point from that game: the first new kickoff returned for a touchdown.
I got that as a talking point as well. Yeah,
it was good to see. It was good to see that they're not all going to be touchbacks.
Yeah. So, do you, after the first week's games, do you think the new sort of landing zone has worked? Has it done what they intended it to?
I don't mind them trying to change it because it was so many touchbacks. It's just been increasing and increasing and increasing. What I would have taken it a little bit further, which is to try and encourage kickers to kick it deep but not into the end zone, would be to, rather than move it from the 20 to the 30, move it from the 20 to the 40. And then all of a sudden that's a huge difference for the kickers, and they're going to go, actually, it'd be a terrible idea for me to kick it straight into the end zone. The other alternative is kick off from further back. That's the other one that I look at maybe doing. Although, shall we actually go and talk about the Vikings at the Giants? Because it provided one of the funniest moments of the season so far already. In the Joe Theismann tribute pick 6 that Daniel Jones threw. It was
shocking.
It was so bad, and it's the sort of thing that's understandable if the guy's just throwing it away and just does it kind of a panic. Yeah, if you see the replay, he's actually bloody looking. He's looking that way, and he throws it directly to him. And you go, how bad is your awareness if you're looking that way and still can't see the Vikings player? It was so weird as well seeing Sam Darnold.
Well, it was kind of poetic that he had
he was playing like he'll end up in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
that's the quarterback. The Jets thought they were drafting.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then he remembered. Yeah, then he remembered who he was, and
I think was 14 from 14 in the first half or something daft like that.
He was at one stage. Yeah,
he missed, didn't
he? He was really good, but I reckon the Vikings are not particularly great. I think the Vikings of the second half is more like the Vikings you'll see most of the season.
Yeah.
But by that point, if you scored 2 touchdowns against this Giants team, I reckon you're going to win regardless, because you can't see where the Giants are actually going to be getting points from.
No,
yeah, Washington. That's where they get the points from.
Yeah,
maybe.
But I think Jefferson made them look good. In addition to obviously Darnold's passing, but will that happen every week?
Jefferson's so good though. You can throw it in the vicinity of him, and he'll come down with the ball. And
would you make Daniel Jones look good?
He's got more of a chance than any other wide receiver because he's got such a ludicrous ability to go up and catch things that should be 2 meters over his head. He's an astonishing receiver. We'll go from what I expect to be 2 ropey teams this season to, I think, 2 good ones. Texans at Colts. Edgy, your Texans.
Great game. Yes, great game.
I think in a weekend of brilliant games, this was the best one.
Yeah. I thought Richardson was superb, really set his stall out with that. Was it a 68-yard touchdown or something like that?
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Stroud and Diggs already look as though they've been playing together for years. It was like a heavyweight fight at times. You just sort of keep going, and then obviously it was close at the end, but just superb game.
I think I said last week that I thought this could be like a week 1 title decider, and I don't think I've changed my mind. I reckon those 2 teams are going to be pretty much neck and neck this season, and that win might be the difference between the Texans winning the division or not.
And it was in Indianapolis as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a big win for them, first game. But both those teams look like they're going to have really good seasons.
Yeah, Edgy.
Again, keeping the quarterbacks fit.
Yeah, I just want to just disagree with you slightly, Edgy, on one point there. I thought Richardson played well. I wouldn't necessarily say played great.
It was great moments more than
it was sporadic. He played well sporadically.
But I think that's the sort of player he is. I think he's going to be one of those. Yeah. He's going to be a moments player.
Yeah,
he had 3 50-plus yard passes.
Yeah, he did.
What did he get on his scrambling? Because I bet it was.
Yeah, Richardson. He had 6 for 56 on a touchdown.
Right. Okay.
But his passing yards, Edgy, he had it was 9 for 19. 212, 2 touchdowns, 212
yards. So in those 9 completions, which you would say that he's capable of getting week in, week out. This is obviously their game plan. So those 9 completions, he outscored probably about over half of the quarterbacks in the league.
Oh yeah, but worryingly, it was missing easy targets.
Yeah.
No, this is another thing, right? With these quarterbacks, just tell me I'm completely wrong. I usually do. I find it with these new quarterbacks, they'll look for the big pass before they even look underneath. If they think the big pass is on, don't matter if they tightly marked or covered, they'll look for that play rather than a simple tight end 5 yards away. They always want to play, and I think it's a Madden culture where they look for highlight reel throws. That's my view.
B20 versus test, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also out of that quarterback class, he's a couple of years younger than most of them, so. He's still got. Even though he missed most of his first year, he's still younger than a lot of the rookies from this year. He's essentially a rookie this year.
Yeah, he is.
Dolphins then. So Achan, who hasn't practiced, I think he left the game halfway through. Looked good. I liked the Dolphins. They perhaps weren't firing as they were last year, but they didn't need to because Jacksonville was toss.
The Jags started well. I think there were 3 games that all kind of followed a similar pattern, which was the Cardinals at the Bills, and then there was the Jags at the Dolphins, and also when we come on to the Titans at the Bears, where the road team came out flying in all 3 of those, and ultimately left with fuck all. But the Jags weren't. They took it down to the wire, didn't they? So
yeah, it could have gone the other way, but A really interesting stat, which I learned all on my own, is that the touchdown for Tyrek was his longest of his career. Bet you didn't know that.
First I've heard of it.
Yeah,
Do know. Thank you.
80-yard touchdown.
I bet he's got like 20 that were 70 yards.
Probably, yeah. But I think there was a lot of talk pre-season that the Dolphins were trying to diversify their attack to, not be too reliant on Hill and Waddle, and it turned out to be Hill and Waddle that did all the damage, really. So
the Dolphins will have the same problem as last year. It's their defense that's the issue. They give up too many points in the big games. They will beat the Jags. They will beat the teams that you generally expect them to beat, but they will also lose the games where they're the underdogs. Okay, so the third game I referred to where the road team had a good stab and then fell apart was Titans at Bears. I mean, who saw that second half coming?
The Titans didn't.
No, but they got blown apart by the Chicago defense. So, I mean, Chicago's offense was shit all game.
Yeah. I think that in total, what do they have? 149 yards in total offense. So
but they started well. They started really well. So I don't know what it was like.
It was a really strange
in the second
game.
half. It was like they might have been on minus yards in the second half.
Those two sort of defensive touchdowns really won the game for Chicago. It was just a really weird game all round. But Williams became the first quarterback number one draft to win a debut since 2002. But I wouldn't say he looked comfortable doing so.
I don't think that wins down to him in any way.
No, definitely not.
It's he didn't look good. He kind of looked like panicky when he had to drop back and got put under pressure, which I think is a bit of a worry because I think that at the Bears, who I think are vastly improved this year and will make the playoffs,
definitely.
But that pressure on the quarterback is something that Justin Fields was struggling to deal with, and it looks like they haven't actually plugged that hole. So it's still going to be a lot of pressure on him. He's going to have to learn how to move out of the pocket quickly. But it's his first game. You can't.
It is his first game.
You can't expect him to come. I mean, the reason Fields isn't there anymore is that he was still having to do that in year 3.
Yeah.
So it still gives him time to doing it. If he's still doing it in year 3, they do the same again and they move him on and bring someone else in. As you were eager to talk about the new John Elway, Bo Nix, let's go Broncos at Seahawks.
What was your interesting point about Bo Nix then, Daz?
Oh, I didn't have anything interesting to say about Bo Nix.
Okay,
neither did Daz, but it won't stop him.
No. It wasn't necessarily the interesting thing about Bo Nix, but it was actually the Denver Broncos themselves. I did notice at one stage, I think it was McLaughlin, I think his wide receiver there for the Dolphins. He had 5 receptions for 1 yard. With the worrying thing is the longest was 3 yards.
Wasn't there someone on 6 receptions from -2 or something like that?
Well, it must have been this guy.
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, but 5 receptions. But yeah, then five receptions, 1 yard, average of 0.2, which is tremendous.
It's a game of inches
and penetration, as someone said. But Bo Nix. What do you make of Bo Nix?
It was an ugly game all round.
He looked dreadful, but again, we talked about all these other new rookie quarterbacks. You can't expect them. No, rookie quarterbacks don't come out flying. They just don't.
Yeah.
No.
I was going to say about the return of a Super Bowl winning coach, which was Jim Harbaugh at the Chargers, who pretty comfortably saw off the Raiders in the end.
Yeah.
Didn't look in doubt, did it?
The Raiders look quite bad.
Yes.
They only, I think their 10 points came from a field goal and a defensive touchdown.
Well, Minshew got a touchdown.
Oh, did he? I thought
Yeah.
they got the defensive touchdown. But
Yeah.
they didn't have a lot going on offense at all. And every time they went to the game on red zone, the Chargers had the ball.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
So
I think overall, if where did I read this? So in the first 3 quarters, the Chargers ran 6 red zone plays, and out of those 6, in total, they gained 6 yards from it, which is quite poor. And then really, it was only the fourth quarter. Was it J.K. Dobbins and the new lad McConkey, great name.
Yeah,
it's a great name.
Sort of scored to close it out. So yes, they won and won easily in the end, but it wasn't as convincing, I think, as it could or should have been.
I think by the end it was pretty convincing. But you heard about those 6 red zone possessions. You could say, oh, that sounds like it's good defense by the Raiders if they kept them to that few yards. But it's also quite shit defense by the Raiders to let them get in the red zone 6 times.
6 times, yeah, true.
So it's I think the Chargers, I think I said last week, the Chargers will improve this year under Jim Harbaugh. The Raiders, I don't see doing anything. All right, shall we do it then? Shall we talk about the Panthers? They're fucking awful, aren't
they? Yeah, they are.
Okay, next
they
game.
Made Derek Carr look like an absolute superstar. And don't get me wrong, he did play well, but my God. I'm more upset because I benched Shaheed. He scored, was it a 58-yard touchdown, something like that? I've got to get him in more, but
you got to look at what hope there is for the Panthers. Not even just this season, but even down the road. There's so little there. It's kind of sad.
Would a head coach make the decision to tank a season as early as week 2? Or even week 1?
I don't know. Have they actually got a number 1 pick next year? Have they already got rid of it? I don't know. I don't know anymore. I assume they've already traded away all their picks for the next 10 years because it just saves time for them. But you have to look. We talked about the Giants having nothing. The Panthers have got less than nothing.
And just to give a little bit more on to the Panthers, they've claimed 6 players following the cut down deadline. They've reworked the contracts of 1 and cut 2 of them. That Sheriff being one. I wonder if that Sheriff that used to be the guard for Washington and Jacksonville.
No, I think it's Sheriff John Bonnell. He used to be on World's Wildest Police videos.
I remember that.
That's him. Yeah, I do remember that. And basically, he just said, constant churn will clearly be a thing for this team after Sunday. Or to blame the turnstile at the bottom.
Right, so they're already the worst team, and they've just brought in 6 players considered not good enough for any other team.
Yeah.
Another good game. Late game on Sunday saw the Rams at the Lions. I really enjoyed this game.
The Lions do look good.
They do look good, but the Rams, who I have also tipped to get to the playoffs, I thought they dealt with the injuries and stuff really well and gave them a proper game.
Matt Stafford, who would have thought?
Well, most people who've seen him play because he's Matt Stafford, but he's as soon as they lost 2 of their O-line in the first half, Nakua, you go, once the Lions was it 17-3 up, you go, that's game. And it's the fact that the Rams even made it into a match was pretty impressive, I thought.
I think both teams just showed that how they're very tough, gritty competitors. But it was said in comms, I think, that the Lions, they're masters at finding ways to win, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, it's just they also got. I do like the tandem Gibbs Montgomery running back. I like them just having. But they could run it every play if they want and just split it between them because
totally agree.
They're both so dangerous, and they're the same player. Like they're essentially the same player. Montgomery's possibly a little bit more powerful, Gibbs a bit quicker, but essentially the plays they give them are the same. The return of Aaron Rodgers, everyone.
Yeah. He looked every bit as good.
He looked good, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, all right. It's not the best game to judge them on because they're playing the 49ers, who are brilliant and looked brilliant as well. But he looked good. Is that free play touchdown he did? Just the sharp mind to go to do that. He's going to be a good quarterback for the Jets.
Yeah,
if he's fit, he's going to be a really good quarterback.
That's going to be the key at that age, though, isn't it? Is he going to stay fit?
You said last week, Greggles, it's not. He's still got his arms. It's not an arm injury.
Yeah,
and he's
one of the best pocket passers around.
Yeah.
So, I thought the Jets were just unlucky to come up against a team
really good team.
I still think the best team in the NFL.
And of course, they didn't even have Christian McCaffrey, did they?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, but how good was Mason?
Yeah, I wish I'd have put him in. I've got him on my bench.
How good is he? He's a backup. He'd be a starter in most teams, wouldn't he?
Yeah, really.
And he's a backup running back there. So
147 yards off 28 carries.
The strength in depth they've got as well. I mean, it hasn't helped them because there are so many injuries, but it's the strength and depth they do have that they can not miss Christian McCaffrey is it's amazing. It shows how good they are.
Don't need to rush him back at all, do they? No,
they don't. I think it wasn't that. It's not that bad an injury, is it? It was a game time decision for him to miss out. So I don't think it's too bad, but it shows the options there, and the games that they win comfortably. And I can imagine there being a few. You can take him out after, like in the third quarter, and know you can put Mason in; he'll do a job.
Well, when we were doing the fantasy draft, it was entertaining idea. If I got the first pick, I wouldn't have gone with McCaffrey for this very reason. I think somebody did some research, and he was predicted to miss 3 games of the season through injury because of the type of game that he has, and obviously
every involvement in games.
Exactly. So, it's testament to the 49ers that without him, they can still go and they seemed really physical, really strong.
Greenlaw was still missing as well, and they still look good.
Exactly. So their strength in depth is obviously a massive plus. But like I said, they just seem to be so much more physical than the Jets. Mason, who I'd never heard of, really. The whole running game, what was their average yardage? Just
about 5 yards. 5, I think.
Whereas the Jets were 3.6.
Yeah.
That makes a hell of a difference.
A good touch as well, his dad there in crowd watching, because they didn't even know he was going to play, did they? Until that last thing.
Mason's dad?
Yeah. Even Mason didn't.
It was a game time decision.
It was. But he was lucky that his dad had come up. He said afterwards, Perry, that he really enjoyed his son's performance, and it was unexpected him to play.
But it was made up.
It's the feel-good story of the year. Okay, and bringing up the rear are the Browns. Final game we need to cover. The Browns, who lost at home. So they lost 33-17 at home. They looked shit, didn't they?
They did.
Deshaun Watson, we were talking last week about how this is his make or break season in Cleveland.
It's
and
not looking good, is it?
They I don't know how the Browns do it. They managed to be Cleveland Browns in so many different ways. But I kind of got a feeling that they'd be better this year. They ended last season pretty well. I thought they'd be
a lot better.
Watson having a proper pre-season and stuff like that. They'd left him out of the pre-season games to focusing on being perfect shape for the season opener, and he was rotten. He was absolutely rotten.
Just me, but watching him play, he doesn't seem technically sound. I don't know whether this is his style, but he seemed really uncomfortable in his own skin. He just had this lack of rhythm in everything that he did, or whether it was a lack of confidence, I don't know. Um, I think they were missing a little bit from the O line, which probably won't have helped. But he was
No,
0-7 on 20-yard passes, which
yeah. But what you got to look at is go look at the 2020 season. Go to look at any Texans game from that season, and watch Deshaun Watson play in that, and he was MVP that year. He's the best quarterback in football that year, and at the time you still got Aaron Rodgers at the Packers. Brady's still playing then. Mahomes is playing then. Deshaun Watson's the best quarterback in football. You wouldn't believe it was the same player.
what happened then?
Well, he sat out a year at for his final year at Texans. Then
For money, for contract.
yeah, then he got massively overpaid by the Browns. Then he got suspended for a year. And last year he played like 4 games and was injured for the rest. So you got to say this is 4 years now since he was any good as a quarterback. Now, even if he got 3/4 of the way back to that player, it'd still be a massive improvement at quarterback for the Browns. But he looks nowhere near it. He looks like a completely different player. He looks like he's lost his mojo totally.
Yeah, sacked 6 times.
I can't remember who it was who beat them.
Next week's predictions.
All right, so first game, Bills at Dolphins.
Ooh. Could be a splitter straight away. Edgy?
Yes. I am going for the Miami Dolphins.
I am also going for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. They're good at home, aren't they? This time of year, Dolphins. It's hard to go against the Dolphins.
They rarely lose at home in September.
I'm going to go Dolphins as well. 3 in a row for Dolphins.
Right.
Okay, so that's made that one pointless.
Yeah.
We got Raiders at the Ravens. So we've all been talking about it's two losing teams from week 1.
Yeah, but we know who we're going to go for here. Ravens for me.
It's going to be a very comfortable Ravens victory, I think.
Well, I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah.
Another couple of losers, Browns and Jaguars.
Massive game this for both clubs. They need to obviously you need to win. You need to win every game, but whoever goes 0-2 here are probably struggling. So there's important game.
There's a stat, isn't there, about teams who go about how few teams start 0-2 and reach the playoffs. Yeah. And it's a tiny percentage.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like is it around like 8% or something like that?
It's not. Yeah.
So if you start season 0-2,
yeah,
8% of the teams that go 0-2 make the playoffs.
No. But yeah, but over like a 20-year period or something like that. Yeah.
So statistically speaking, you go 0-2, you might as well kiss your season goodbye.
Pretty much.
Interesting. Okay.
That said, I'll go for I think the Jags at home, and the Browns looked an absolute mess. So I think the Jags will do this.
Browns, how long do they trust Watson for?
I know, yeah.
You can't do it, can you?
I reckon they trust him for the season regardless because they're paying him and they're not going to get anyone else in. They might take the hit at the end of the season.
Do the players even play for him? I don't know. So I'm going to go Jaguars.
So you've both gone for Jags.
Yep.
I am going to go with the Browns.
We talked for a long time about the Panthers, didn't we? Well, they're at home against the Jim Harbaugh Chargers.
The defensive Chargers.
It's a work in progress, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Will the Panthers' notorious offense be too much for the Chargers' defense to handle?
No, Chargers for me. Thanks, Jeff.
For me, I think it'd be a case of who's going to score more, the Chargers offense or the Chargers defense. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go for Chargers.
I'm starting to wonder where these 6 wins for the Panthers you guaranteed are going to come from.
I know.
I
also not this week.
I also think the Chargers will beat the Panthers. The big heroes of week 1, Patriots. They're at home against the Seahawks. Interesting one, really, given the 2 winners from week 1, neither looking particularly spectacular, but Patriots look good defense. Seahawks, I said earlier, I think I can see them being a team who can find a way to a narrow victory, and I think they will narrowly beat the Patriots.
Me too.
The same could be said for both of them, though, couldn't it? That they both sort of just seem to chip away at the others. This one's given me the most to think about. You both said Seattle, and I really want to say the Patriots just to be different, but I can't see it. I think the Seahawks probably just have too much.
If Edgy says the same as us for the rest of the season,
I know,
he's going to win.
A joke, isn't it?
That's a great shout, yeah.
Colts at Packers. This is an interesting one to watch.
Especially with Jordan Love not being there.
And
it's that reason that's
I would have had Packers as definite my pick for this game if he was there. But as it is, I'm going the other way. I think the Colts, even away in Green Bay, I think the Colts will win this.
What did you go for, Edgy? Sorry?
Indianapolis.
You went for Colts?
Yeah.
Oh, for that reason, then I'm going for Colts as well.
Bucks at Lions.
This will be a good game. Should be.
Well, I think that the Washington game probably made them look better than they are.
No,
they'll be competitive in their division. The Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. They sort of flew out the gate, but again, it was only against Washington.
All right.
I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the Lions. I actually have Tampa Bay down, but I've changed my mind, so I'm going to go with Lions.
I said earlier that I think the Lions are the second best team in the NFC. I think they will beat the Bucks.
So do I.
Okay.
We'd all love to see the Saints carry on their scoring form at Dallas.
We
Absolutely.
Would. So for that reason, Jeff, I'm going with New Orleans Saints.
You see, I think Derek Carr, I think he's found his form now. I think he's found his place in this Saints offense. And I think Saints win this one by 3.
I think the Saints will probably lose, but I refuse to give the Cowboys any credit whatsoever.
Agreed.
And I hate the idea of getting a point from them winning, so I'm going for the Saints. Jets at Titans. Aaron Rodgers away from home again. Will he ever get to play a game in New York?
Who knows?
I said last week Titans aren't as bad as a lot of people think, but the Jets are better than them, and the Jets will beat the Titans. Even in Tennessee, the Jets will beat the Titans.
On the road, it's a short week for them.
Obviously, the Jets can find a way of fucking up anything, but I don't think they will this week.
This time, no. I'm trying to find reasons to, go against the grain, but this isn't the game to do it. I can't see anything but a Jets win.
Yeah, same here.
On to this week's Toss Bowl.
I've got to say, Commanders. Hopefully, the coaches will sort the shit out because they were so underprepared last week. It was a joke. It was like Washington of old, and they've got to do something better next week. They can't give the quarterback 16 rushes. They can't do that. They've got to get the wide receivers in. Commanders by. I mean, if this, I'm going to predict a bold 13-point win.
That is bold.
Yeah, 13-0.
I reckon. I don't know. I looked at the huge gaps in that Washington defense.
Yeah, they were
against
big.
the Bucks, and you go, are those gaps big enough for even Daniel Jones to start completing a few passes? I thought no, they're not. So I think the Commanders will win.
You said that you can't give a quarterback 16 rushes.
You love Daniel Jones.
You can give it to Daniel Jones because he's not going to hurt you. But I am going to go with. I'm going to stick with the Giants.
Not so well week one. One of only 4 you got wrong, but you're sticking with.
Yes, they've got to come good at some point, and they're never going to have a better chance to win.
I don't think that's true. I don't think they can. They're necessarily going to come good at some point.
2038.
Well, I meant I was going to say the next 20 years they're bound to win a game, aren't they?
They might do, yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean they'll come good.
Okay. Starting it now. But you
just want to gloat.
If they've got a chance of winning this season, it's against Washington because they were defensively they were poor. Can the Giants' offense be less poor than the Washington defense?
But what happens if first quarter Daniel Jones gets injured? They bring in Tommy DeVito, and all of a sudden you're looking at a completely different offense for the Giants.
Yeah, so actually win.
Neighbors ends up going for like 200 yards receiving.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not going to happen either, though. So I'll stick with the Commanders.
Fair enough.
49ers at Vikings. The 49ers are going to stuff them.
Can't see anything else than that. Too strong, Niners. Way too strong.
Go on, Edgy. This is where you get to be contentious.
Okay, then. 49ers were a superb team last year, weren't they?
The year before, yeah.
Yeah, and this year so far.
Minnesota beat them 22-17 last year. I'm going for a Minnesota win.
He's drunk. Rams at Cardinals. I think this is quite a tough one.
Game of the round for me, this. Who's the pick?
Tough one. I'm going to go Rams, mate.
Well, I'm going with the Cardinals. So
okay.
That's nicely worked out.
I think it's a tough start of the season for the Rams. 2 road games.
Nakua will be out as well.
Yeah, that was my thinking. And also I don't know what the state of those 2 O-line injuries was either. But they were pretty good without them. I reckon I'm going to go Cardinals on this one, actually. I reckon this could go either way. I think it's possibly the toughest one to call out of all of them.
Definitely.
Bengals at Chiefs.
Will we ever see a comeback from Mr. Joe or not?
I think the Bengals were shit against the Patriots.
Yeah.
Chiefs were pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But the Bengals are a lot better than what they played on Sunday.
You would hope.
Burrow has beaten Mahomes 3 times, including in KC. I'm going for the Bengals.
Well, that's a good job, Burrow.
I still think they'll turn it on.
Okay. I don't, by the way. Chiefs all the way.
You're going for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm going for the Bengals. I think the Chiefs have got to lose some along the way. This is one I had earmarked that Bengals would win. Kind of like Greggles said, they're not a bad side. They just played poorly this last week. If they turn it on, get that record going with Burrow against Mahomes. I'm going to take the gamble.
The mighty Steelers against the Broncos.
Steelers all over the Bo Nix on that one, I think.
Steelers
you can only hope.
Versus Bo Nix.
Well, it's obviously Russell Wilson going back to Denver while they're still paying him a fortune.
Yeah.
I assume you're going for Pittsburgh as well.
I'm going Steelers, yeah, but I do it out of a sense of loyalty more than anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Steelers, I never think we're going to score that many points. So I'm thinking if the defense can keep the opposition under 20, we got a chance. And I think we can keep the Broncos under 20.
Yeah, I agree. Bears at Texans. I don't even think we mentioned Bears earlier, did we?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
We talked about their defense mainly.
Yeah. Well, so Bears, they can't. Caleb Williams can't have the same game. He's got to get better. But then again, they're going to Texans where CJ Stroud's looking really good. I'm going to go
think
Texans.
Williams will have learned a lot from his first match.
Yeah.
But CJ Stroud, as a second year, already really settled into his rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Already showed what they can do.
Knows the offense.
Yeah, there's just too much. There's much more around Stroud to believe.
Knows the playbook
On top, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
High scoring though, potentially.
I see this as being high scoring as well. There were big
Should
gaps. There were big gaps in the Texans secondary, as Anthony Richardson showed. He's so it might be a good opposition for Caleb Williams to find his feet against.
So Bears then, Greggles, is that what you're saying?
But
here we go.
They're starting from scratch because they got nothing going week one. And I think this game's a little bit too early for them. So I think it'll be the Texans.
Is this our last one? Falcons and Eagles?
Yeah.
What about the Packers?
Packers at Colts. Colts at Packers.
Yeah, we did that ages ago.
I've done that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. This is it, 16 games.
Come on, pay attention.
Eagles all day.
Eagles for me as well. Like Greggles, he selected Lions to go deep. I've selected Eagles to win it, so Eagles.
I'd like this to be a really close game. I'd like the Falcons to be the offense that everyone hopes they would be. And this will be a blinding game. But again, I think it's too early in the season for them. New quarterback, some new offensive players. Still have got a shite defense, haven't they? And the Eagles will win this. By the way, do you want some good news on the? Steve Young keeps letting us down.
Yeah.
I might be getting a guest on the podcast who actually might show up.
Oh, go on.
There's someone off another podcast, which
Micah Parsons.
I thought no, he couldn't make it. He says, I'm not going on no podcast that Steve Young goes on. Apparently he hates it. So
not Rich Eisen, is it?
It's not Wigfield. Then.
It's not Wigfield. No, weirdly, we're not still in touch.
All right. Not since Junction.
Sorry. Weirdly for her, not weirdly for me. I'd obviously love to still be in touch with Wigfield.
So I think I can get an actual guest. I think there'll be one for a little bit of variety as well.
Is this Steve Young?
Steve, I'm trying to get Steve Young. It's not.
Sorry, when we first one of these we recorded, you told us you could definitely get Steve Young.
I'm trying.
We agreed to do
that. qbscpod@gmail.com